1918 Death on the Rails is about the Estonian army and their allies defending Estonia from the advances of the Red Army. In 2 days, it will be exactly 100 years since the Russian SFSR attacked Narva to take back land lost during World War I. I thought this is the perfect time to review this game. I'll focus on the first scenario. The setup instructions are in the rulebook. The Estonian player will draw one card, capture and control the building that matches the green objective number at the bottom. Both sides place their units at the same time. Players draw cards for their opponent. Yup, action points are in red. They know how many you have, but you don't. Those numbers at the bottom are for the objectives, which I mentioned a moment ago. On your turn, you can move, fire, or pass. After each action, slide the initiative track one spot toward your opponent. When moving, you may activate all or some units in an area, then move them to an adjacent area. If moving to open ground, you may move once more into another adjacent open ground for free. Areas are outlined in black, and some have different amounts of hexes. The center dots are for line of sight and show stacking limits before penalties take effect. For example, in the 2-hex area, you roll 1 fewer die for each block you have above the 2-block limit. You gain 1 more die if you're defending in a forest or a building. After the active player is moved, the defender can do something called reaction fire. If your opponent is within line of sight, which I'll explain soon, 1 or more of your units can fire back at them. Reaction fire pushes the initiative track one spot toward your opponent. If you fire, your target must be within line of sight. Buildings and forests block line of sight for the attacker. If adjacent, you get an extra die. If you're 3 center dots away, you lose a die. Pick a lead unit and reveal it. If you wish, others in the same area can be supporting units. A standard unit can only fire once per turn, whether it's on their own or group fire. Some blocks, like machine gunners, have special abilities. Melee combat is simple. Once each side has units in an area, at the end of the turn you'll roll like usual, but ignore those special abilities. In block war games, the unit type is in the middle. The numbers at the top are the unit's combat strength. In other words, how many dice to roll when attacking and defending. When you take a hit, turn the block. When the combat strength is 0, the unit has been defeated. In melee, a unit is removed when the red or critical strength is active. For ranged combat, look at your combat strength. Apply modifiers and roll that many dice. Arrange them from highest to lowest. Go one by one. Highest number wins. If one side has fewer dice, missing dice are worth 0. Supporting units can raise the lowest dice pit value by 1. The side with more victories wins combat. In ranged combat, the defender takes damage if the attacker took more hits. No damage is inflicted for ties or a defender win. For melee combat, each side takes the damage equal to the hits inflicted by the attacker. Once your opponent tells you that you've no actions left, look at the initiative track. If it's still on your side, they draw another card so you can take another turn. If it's on their side, you draw a card so they can begin their turn. This will continue until a victory condition is reached. Perform actions, manipulate the initiative track, and meet your victory conditions. That's 1918 Death on the Rails. I haven't played that many, but 1918 Death on the Rails has got to be one of the smallest war games. It could be played on a big coffee table. Our average game is around 45 minutes, and as always, that includes setup and takedown. You can play this on weeknights for sure. Some scenarios might end up a bit longer, but not much. There isn't a lot of reading, and math is easy. Some counting and comparing, and a bunch of adding and subtracting. The theme might be too much for some people, but I enjoyed learning about the history. This is my first block war game. I didn't really know what to do early on, and I sent all of my blocks toward my objective. I did not do well. I learned with each game. I started using decoys to pull my opponent out of their safe spots. When I played Scenario 3 against Mom, I was the Estonians who start with only a few guys. I used the map and the blocks I did have to keep her at a distance. Slowly, my reinforcements came and I overwhelmed and defeated her. My luck with dice helped. I've discovered that there are about 1 million games in World War II, a lot on World War I, the American Revolution, and the American Civil War. What I like is that even my dad didn't know a lot about this battle. I said way back in my Timeline Challenge review that learning while having fun is the best way to learn. That's definitely true here. I love the action point system and initiative. Your opponent knows how many actions you have, but you don't? So smart. You may have a plan, but it may not be in the cards. I have seen, and we have, war games where the pieces are little counters. I really like blocks though, because the other player doesn't always know what's coming for them. When you take damage, combat is just rolling dice. You're sometimes missing, sometimes getting weakened, and sometimes just getting wiped out. I like the combat bonuses from the different types. Your special forces units and machine gunners can increase the result of one die roll. Your decoys are removed when they take a single hit. It makes your team feel different, and you need to be smart in how you use them. On the other hand, melee combat throws those bonuses out the window. You hit each other until someone falls. I like that as well. When you're that close, anything can happen quickly, so you wouldn't be able to think and use your skills like in a forest, for example. The stacking penalty might be worth risking if the game's almost over. Pretty cool. This comes with 6 scenarios, with double-sided boards and a pile of blocks. Experienced wargamers can probably make more. With that said, because this is an indie game from Estonia, the game costs $105 Canadian. It is what it is, but I wish there were more scenarios in the box, or a generator to help new wargamers create balanced battles. In February, I caught Memoir 44, which is an extremely popular game available at toy stores and specialty shops. A great entry-level war game and recommended for casual gamers and or families with kids. I don't need to play Memoir 44 again. Combat still comes down to luck, but there are more variables. Activation still comes down to luck, but you can use those points on any unit. Is this game cheap? No. Is it hard to find? Yeah, probably. Is it worth tracking down if the theme and gameplay interest you even the slightest bit? Absolutely.